Do you know that our brain has a natural tendency to focus on negative experiences more than the positive ones? After a long conversation, do your thoughts focus on the positive comments or that one negative comment that was made? I guess most of us would pick that one negative comment, and some of us would even think over and over again. Studies have shown that our brain electrical activity increases when focusing on negative stimuli as compared to positive stimuli. Our brain registers, focuses, stores and recalls negative events much more readily than the positive ones, such as unpleasant thoughts, difficult emotions, awkward social interactions, and traumatic events. Looking at this picture, what would you notice first? I guess most of us will point out the dark patches on the skin instead of mentioning her beautiful eyes or her beautiful features. Why is this so? Why we focus so much on the negativity? Since prehistoric days, focusing on the bad has become a way to keep us safe and help us to register threats to avoid danger, so we can increase survival rates. Even at the workplace, looking out for problems can help us to resolve issues quickly to avoid bigger damage. With our natural tendency to focus on the bad instead of the good, it is not surprising to know that many people struggle with negative thoughts throughout their life. In fact, according to one study, out of the 60,000 thoughts we have in a day, about 80% of our daily thoughts are negative. It is perfectly normal to have negative thoughts, and they are not necessarily a problem themselves, but they become a problem when we start to believe them. It is easy for us to believe that our thoughts are true because our thoughts are abstract, often habitual and automatic, and it makes it hard for us to be aware of their existence and makes them hard to spot. Not only we tend to look at the world with a negativity bias, most of the people also have negative image of themselves. They dislike who they are, they devalue themselves, lowering the self-esteem. It is estimated that 85% of the people worldwide have low self-esteem. If you're one of them, you are not alone. When we were very young, we would not have this negative self-image across our mind. We do not have much opinion about ourselves. It is through our connection with the world that we begin to question ourselves, the way we look, the way we behave, the way we talk, the way we present ourselves, and even our existence. We begin to develop these opinions about ourselves based on what the world presents to us. It can be developed through comparison, expectations, or rejections from others. We begin to set expectations and standards for ourselves, creating those boundaries of shoulds and musts, right and wrong. And when we don't meet these standards, we begin to question ourselves. We doubt our capabilities and values. And over time, these voices have internalized and we became our own worst critics, even without us knowing. Having a healthy dose of self-criticism can help us to monitor our behavior and protect us. But an unhealthy amount of self-criticism is a sign that things have gone wrong and we should start to look at the roots of the problem, because it can affect our personal life and our relationship with others. We are always searching out and expect the worst in life and constantly looking out for something that is wrong with us or others when there is nothing wrong with us. What our mind digests can sometimes be very subjective based on our own personal experiences, which could form misconception about ourselves and others. The constant feeling of never being good enough can weigh us down over time and create this harmful mind pattern. To resolve a problem, we must first calm down and face them. Here are the steps that have helped me to manage my inner voices, and I hope that it could help you as well. Thoughts are not facts. It is important for us to keep this in mind because having a thought doesn't mean it's true. We can tackle the inner critic by pausing our stream of thoughts and be mindful of their presence. Being aware of these inner critics is a crucial step for us to manage self-criticism. Once you catch these thoughts in your mind, start looking at them without any judgment. You can tell yourself, "Oh, this is a thought telling me I'm not good enough." Being aware of these thoughts, it allows us to draw ourselves out from the intense situation and look at the thoughts from a third person's point of view without reacting. This action helps us to separate ourselves from this criticism or negative thoughts in general, so we look at them clearly and not take them personally. Negative thoughts can easily escalate. If you find yourself spiraling in negative thoughts, it is important to stop and recognize them before they turn into a snowball. The mind and the body comes in a package. Negative thoughts create negative feelings, and uncomfortable feelings triggered by the thoughts would reinforce our belief that the negative thought is true, which can lead to more negative thinking. Inner critics often create difficult emotions like sadness, anxiety, guilt, and shame. We will feel sad when our inner critics tell us that I'm not good enough. Feel anxious when our critics tell us that I must be in danger and I'm going out of control. When we begin to be aware of these thoughts and deal with them in a calm and rational manner, we won't be able to stop the first wave of emotional response. Since young, I was taught the things that I should do and what I shouldn't do, what is right and what is wrong. This set boundaries in my thinking and create the two extreme worlds, the black and the white. I developed OCD 10 years ago, and during that time, my therapist told me that I need to allow gray areas in my life to live with a peaceful mind. And that completely changed my life and helped me to recover within a month. We tend to avoid or escape from negative thoughts that come with negative emotions because it will bring discomfort to us. When you find yourself running away from negative thoughts, that is when you need to have some gray areas into your world. Having negative thought is part of the human's natural tendency. If we restrict those thoughts, we will be struggling and suffering from things that are out of our control. Just allow them to be there and they will go away naturally. Our mind is like the sky, and the thoughts are just like the clouds passing by. The world is constantly changing, and nothing lasts forever as well. Having gray area creates space for self-acceptance. We tend to push away negative thoughts and feelings away, but the more we push them away, the more they will come back for us. Remember how the mind registers negative events much more readily than the positive ones? Once the negative stimuli left a deep impression in our mind, we'll keep thinking about it until we decided to let it go and deregister them from our mind. Having that gray area gives us the flexibility to allow them to come and go without any judgment. Having this gray area is like inviting space for flexible thinking, which could help us to change our response to these inner thoughts, allowing us to break the wall between the black and white worlds. Sometimes our negative thoughts may seem completely rational and logical, so we believe them to be true. That is why it is so important to question negative thoughts, to see whether they are based on facts or not. Instead of listening to them, we should challenge them and stand up for ourselves. Don't let the voice get bigger and bigger and take over us. Everything happens for a reason, and there is a hidden reason behind each inner critic. Facing these thoughts and finding out the reason behind can help us to resolve the issues thoroughly. Sometimes we might be surprised to find out the roots of these thoughts and have a clearer understanding of ourselves and what is actually happening. Constant self-hatred, self-criticism, self-sabotage can be from past experiences or even childhood trauma. If you are only based on the criticism itself, we are only scratching the surface from one person's point of view. It is easy to believe and fall into the trap of the story, but if we dive deeper into the voice that is telling all the stories, we might be surprised at the reason behind and how they are formed. we will discover a past that is hidden within us all along who hasn't got an answer. And that is when we can reconcile with our past and truly settle the root of the problem. It can be an incident from the past that we have yet to let go, so the critics keep coming back for us. We often take it personally for what we have gone through, instead of telling ourselves that it was me in the past. Changing these thoughts to positive thoughts can also help us to be kinder to ourselves in this healing journey. When we did something wrong, the inner critics might say, "I must be a terrible person." When we identify this thought, we can try to replace it with, "Everyone makes mistakes. It doesn't make me a bad person." Challenge these negative thoughts in a logical manner to avoid us from falling into negativity trap. We can also reinforce positive thoughts with our past behavior to prove these negative thoughts wrong, such as, "I've also done a good job in the past, and my classmates or colleagues have praised me for that." This evidence helps to build a confidence voice that is bigger than the inner critics. The last step, and also the most important step of all, is to practice self-compassion and self-forgiveness. Having negative thoughts and change them to positive thoughts is not easy, because we already form a habit of responding to negative thoughts in a way. If you're having a hard time to deal with negative thoughts, the next best thing that you can do is self-forgiveness. I personally find that self-forgiveness is very powerful when it comes to managing inner thoughts or negative thoughts in general. The phrase, "I forgive myself," holds so much power in setting us free from the attachment of negative thoughts. Each forgiveness is a way to let go of the past and move forward in life. We move away the heavy stone on our feet to move forward instead of allowing the stone to hurt our feet. Accept that we are not perfect and we can make a mistake and learn from it. We are ready to move on to become a better person. Focus on personal growth and progress rather than meeting expectations and standards. You'll realize the inner critics go away in your mind instantly when you treat them with love and care. Our energy changes when we change the tone that we speak to ourselves. When we are more calmed, we can slowly tackle the critics and replace them with positive thoughts or dive deeper into the reason behind these thoughts. We can forgive someone we love deeply for the mistakes that they have made, but we cannot let ourselves go even for the smallest mistakes that we have done. Having self-criticism within us is like a person who sticks with us 24/7, telling how bad we are as a person. How scary would that be? Gently changing these inner thoughts and replace them with a more gentle and caring tone, and learn to be our own emotional support can help us to change our behavior and our relationship with these inner thoughts. Self-compassion is a powerful antidote to any negative self-image we have. It changes the way we respond to ourselves and teaches us to treat ourselves the way we would treat someone we love deeply. Helping ourselves to find out the reason behind the negative thoughts, just like how you would find a solution for the one you love who is suffering from these inner critics. We can all learn to be the loving parent for ourselves, and not an overly stringent parent who picks every little fault. Be compassionate with them even if they appear again and again. Take your time so you can create space for wounds to heal. Allow yourself to grow and build a stronger inner strength that is way more sustainable. Take your time to heal, because it is also a way for us to show our self-kindness when we need it the most.